Hare Krishna. Have any of you ever had the experience where you're sleeping sound at night and you have a nice dream and you wake up and you try to go back into that dream? But you can't do it? Or you have a dream, a nightmare, and it seems so real. And you wake up and you think, whew, good thing that was a nightmare. It seems so real, isn't it? So dreams are actually a great mystery to science, because they can't enter into the dream. So dreams are the subtle body, the mind, intelligence, ego, acting. Our body is not acting, but there's subtle energy that's acting. And we have another dream. So like at night we're sleeping and we have a dream. Then we wake up and we enter into another dream. That we are this body is another dream. The nature of a dream is that it's illusory, right? And it's temporary. It's the nature of a dream. So, we're not this body actually, we're the soul within. So that's an illusion, that we think that we're a woman, or a man, or an American, or German, or Chinese. This is an illusion. Why? It's temporary. And we aren't temporary. We're eternal. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Dehi nosmin yatha dehe kamaram yovaramjara, that just as the soul continually goes through this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul simply goes on into another body. Just like we all used to have little cute, chubby baby bodies. And now we have these different bodies. It's described that every 7 years the body goes through a complete change. All the cells reproduce. So if you're 21 years old, you've had 3 different bodies. Believe it or not. So the soul is going through these various bodies. When the body dies, the soul continues according to our karma. So this is the reality. We're actually the consciousness within. And with all the advancement there is now in science, they haven't a clue what is consciousness. Right? So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that the consciousness is the soul. And the soul is very powerful. He says, Nainam chintanti sestrani, nainam te avibhavaka, that the soul cannot be destroyed by any weapon. Even the most powerful nuclear bombs can't destroy the soul. Very powerful. It can't be burnt by fire. Fire practically can burn everything, but can't burn the soul. Can't be withered by the wind. You can't drown the soul. So why is the soul so powerful? You can't be killed. Well, that's powerful, isn't it? You can't kill the soul. So why is it so powerful? Because it's part of Krishna, the most powerful. So the more we connect to the supreme power, the more we get awareness. We wake up from this illusion that we're this body. We wake up from this dream. I had an interesting experience when I was 16 years old. I was babysitting my niece. She was about 5. She was in her room sleeping. And she started screaming. And I went into the room, and I shook her. It's okay, Tammy, it's okay. It's just a nightmare. It's okay. She wouldn't wake up. And I'm shaking. It's okay. It's okay, it's just a nightmare. She wouldn't wake up, so I picked her up. And I'm shaking her. Tammy, it's okay. Wake up. She wouldn't wake up. I was shocked. I was just a kid, 16 years old, didn't know what to do. She's screaming. So I went across the street to a neighbor. And she came over. And she saw she's still screaming. So the lady, she said, go get me a cup of water. So I got a cup of water and handed it to her. And she told my niece, drink this. And she took the cup of water and she drank it, snapped right out. I was like, wow, I was impressed. You know? I was really impressed. I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So this material life is also, it's kind of like a nightmare, because we're in this situation where there's death, there's old age, there's disease. A friend of mine was just riding his bike a couple of days ago on Venice Boulevard, got hit by a car. He's in the hospital. His neck was tweaked. He shattered his disc, so he may never be the same again. So this material world, it's a dangerous place. So Prabhupada, our spiritual founder, he has come and he's let us know, just chant this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And you'll come out of this nightmare of material life. You can become completely purified, spiritualized by chanting this mantra. And actually that's the goal of the human form of life, is to become purified. Just like there's water purifiers, there's air purifiers, so there's also consciousness purifiers. And that's what we do when we chant Hare Krishna. We're purifying the consciousness. When you read Bhagavad Gita, you're purifying the consciousness. And when we're completely happy, then we're completely satisfied. But that comes by this purification process. And what happens is we also develop good qualities. Inherent within all of us, there's very good spiritual qualities that develop as we continue on in this journey of spirituality. I'll give you an example. Imagine there's a big pile of garbage. It stinks really bad. But there's one flower coming up from the pile. A bee comes by, passes up all the garbage, goes to the flower, and gets the honey. On the other side, there's a big flower garden. Beautiful, big, huge flower garden. Fragrant flowers. Smells great, beautiful. In the middle, there's some feces. A fly comes by, passes up all the fragrant flowers, and goes to the feces. That's what they do, right? So this process is about being a bee. Developing wonderful qualities and seeing the good qualities of others. All of us have faults. Anybody here doesn't have a fault? Oh, here's one. There's always someone that likes to joke. He's our comedian here. So we all have faults. So it's a real art, actually, to overlook all the faults and to see the good in others. Isn't it? Because we also have good qualities in all of us. So to see the good in others and to overlook the faults and try to develop those good qualities, it's a real art. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's all about purification, developing these good qualities, understanding who we are. The body, it's like a vessel for the soul. When this body dies, the soul is going to continue. And if we become completely purified by this process, then the soul goes back to the spiritual realm, spiritual world. That's the actual goal of the human form of life, is to understand our spiritual nature and get purified. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. And although engaging in all different types of activities, he's never entangled in this world. So, this is the goal, is to become pure. To understand, first of all, that we're not the body, we're the soul within, we're consciousness within, and to get purified. Socrates was a very favorite of Srila Prabhupada. He was so intelligent that without any guidance from a spiritual mentor or the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, he was so intelligent that he was able to realize that he was the soul within, that he wasn't the body. It's amazing. And he taught it to the students there in Athens. Now the leaders there, they didn't like this, that he was teaching something unusual. So they told him, stop teaching this. A very wise man. So finally they said, listen, if you don't stop, we're going to kill you. And he said, do as you like. I'm not going to stop. And his students were they were getting concerned, and they told him, you can leave Athens, just go somewhere, you could teach somewhere else. And he had such integrity, he said, no, I'm going to do as I'm doing here. And they could do as they like. And then they said, so it was understood he's going to die of this poison. So before he was given this poison, they asked him, so do you want to be burned or buried when you're done? What do you want? His reply was, you'll have to catch me. They think they're going to kill him, but he knew, I'm going somewhere else. That's what you don't know. That's what you don't know. Now a lot of people in the world now, they think that the soul doesn't exist. Why? You can't see it. They're very faithful followers of the eyes. If we can't see it, it doesn't exist. But there's so many things we can't see that we know exist. Right in this room, there's air. Can anybody see air? Nobody's ever seen air. You could see things within air, you could see the pollution within the air, but you don't see air. How about time? Anybody seen time? Or the ego? Feelings? You could see the result of feelings, but you can't see feelings. Thoughts? We all have thoughts. So many things that we know exist, but we can't see. So this is subtle energy. The gross energy we can see. You can see my body, I can see your body, so many things we can see. Glass, walls, the rug, so many things we can see. This is gross matter. but there's subtle energy that can't be seen with these limited eyes. So don't have too much faith in your material eyes, because you won't go far. So the more we hear the message of Krishna, the more we're able to understand this, the soul, or this absolute energy. And so this is about waking up from a nightmare, actually. Srila Prabhupada, he once said that the soul is embarrassed to be in the material body. Because the soul has three natures: eternality, knowledge, and bliss, happiness. This is the nature of the soul: eternality, knowledge, and bliss. But we're stuck in these bodies, we the soul are stuck in these bodies that are temporary, so much ignorance, and so much unhappiness. So it's an embarrassment for the soul. So nobody wants to be in an embarrassing situation, right? So the more we take to Krishna consciousness, raise our consciousness, the more we'll become free of this embarrassing situation and understand our true nature. So I don't want to just speak. I'd like to open this up. Is there any question? Yes.
Gratitude. Thank you for sharing and for being here. The first question I had was, when you're describing the soul, how would you explain what the soul is? And how can we understand the soul and its nature?
Oh, thank you. Very good question. The soul is not easy to understand. It's anti-material. See, everything that we've seen throughout our life is material. Now we're talking about something that's anti-material. And Krishna, he says, Ascharyavat pashyati kashyena. Ascharyavat varanaditaiva. He says that some, they look on the soul as amazing. With the eyes of knowledge, they look on the soul as amazing. Some describe the soul as amazing. Some hear of the soul as amazing. And some, even after hearing all about the soul, can't understand it at all. It's very difficult to understand the soul. You got to become very spiritual to understand the soul. So what does that mean, to become very spiritual? First of all, it means to associate with like-minded people, spiritual people, that are interested in understanding the soul, interested in realizing their existence as a soul. Very important. Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual mentor, was a self-realized soul. So there's thousands of lectures that he's given describing the nature of the soul. And of course we have the Vedic literatures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. So much is there by which we can understand the soul. But the best process in this age is by chanting this mantra that we were chanting earlier. This helps us to realize our spiritual nature. It's very powerful. There's one statement, Kalar Doshanid Hey Rajan, that this age of Kali, there's many different ages, so this is the age of Kali. Just like there's 4 seasons, so there's 4 ages. There's Satya, which is the mode of goodness, completely pure. Then Treta, a little more vice. Then Dwapara, more vice. And this is Kali, this is the worst. It doesn't get worse than Kali Yuga. But within Kali Yuga, it does get worse. So, But this age is described that there's so many faults in this age, but the one good quality of this age is that simply by chanting this mantra, one can become completely purified of all material contamination and become qualified to enter into that spiritual realm, spiritual world. Okay? Yes.
Is Kali Yuga a Hindu goddess?
Is Kali Yuga what?
A goddess?
Is Kali Yuga a goddess? No, Kali Yuga is an age, but there is a goddess Kali. Maybe you're mixing those. There is a goddess Kali, demigoddess. Yeah.
And is she responsible for Kali Yuga?
No, just like these are just like we have the 4 seasons that just naturally come every year. So these 4 seasons just naturally, by the arrangement of Krishna, they're just naturally coming and going. Yes?
How long does each age last?
Satya Yuga lasts the longest, like a couple million years. I'm not exactly sure that this age is 432,000 years. And we've only been through 5. It's already pretty bad. See? You don't want to be around at the end of the Kali Yuga. I mean, I don't want to be around another 200 years. I mean, I'm 63 now, and I've seen it just like really degrade in just 50 years. Gee, it's unbelievable. It gets real bad.
So we've been in this age for 5,000 years.
5,000 years, yeah.
It's like in the, I want to add one more thing. It's like in New Delhi, it's the most polluted city. If you live in New Delhi, it's like almost like smoking 20 cigarettes a day. Just living there. So
Yeah.
Just some part of.
So you can see, I mean, 50 years ago, New Delhi practically didn't have any pollution. There was no cars practically. I mean, you had to be a millionaire to have a car in New Delhi back then, 50 years ago. But now it's just like,
there, it's like a smoking 20 cigarettes.
it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Terrible. Yes?
Since you said that you compared it to seasons,
Excuse me? Yeah, okay.
Does that mean we've been in this age before?
Well, the soul, as I mentioned, it's eternal. So we've been in many bodies in the past, in other ages, in other universes. Yeah, we've been around. Yeah. And,
so I could say it's like the ages cycle.
Well, the soul going through different bodies is called samsara.
Yeah.
So, just like before you were in this body, you were in another body. And what's interesting is sometimes it's like this girl I mentioned, Tammy, my niece, she had this terrible nightmare. She's only 5 or 6 years old. So what was that? That was from a past life. She's just experiencing something from the past life. But she's just a young girl. She didn't have a nice protected house. She didn't have any experience outside of her nice house there. So this is what it is. We've had past lives, and sometimes in our past lives there's been pretty traumatic experiences that people, therefore people have these nightmares and things. Yes?
Is it possible to reach a point of consciousness to find out what your past lives were? Or if we could figure out in this lifetime what you lived through before?
There are great saintly personalities that can let you know who you were in your past life. But I'll let you know that mostly you don't want to know. I mean, like I mentioned about this girl that had the nightmare, that was just in her sleep. And imagine if we were conscious and we were able to remember our past lives and all the, even in this life, people are a lot more vegetarians. Because it's atrocious, it's horrible what's going on. So, and we were also in bodies like that, being tortured and killed. Yeah, you don't want to remember your past life. Yes?
years?
Well, when I was going to school, the worst thing that would happen was, some kid would spit a spit wad at somebody. Now the kids are going to school with guns and knives. They have to go through metal detectors. You know that? You know that? Some places, not all the schools, some schools, kids got to go through metal detectors, make sure they don't have a gun or a knife, because there's so much shooting going on in the school. That's just one thing. I mean, I could go on and on about how it's become so degraded, but it's not difficult to see. Yes, you have a question?
I believe, which is not a rare thing, that science do know the soul because there's a German study that was done in the early 1940s where this guy, eyes, ears, and nose, basically his five senses was taken away from him, and he went crazy in the void of his own darkness, but eventually he said he found God or whatever. And in the future, from that, we see a lot of music that keep us at a low vibration, talking about drugs, sex, and alcohol, and it's blatantly everywhere. Like we could just leave here, turn on the radio, and it's right there. Go to the bar, it's all over the walls, and certain things, people dancing and stuff. My question is, if we recognize these things, why won't we stand up and say, hey, stop this out, let's move towards something better, because this stuff is keeping us at a low frequency, and if it's keeping us at a low frequency, it's like something or someone or five people is trying to keep us trapped here.
Good luck.
Good luck. Oh, I'm already.
Yeah, no, that's what we do.
I'm
That's
good.
why we're here. That's why we have this program. And all over the world we have this going on, trying to wake people up. This materialistic civilization is just, it's a big zero. It's not helping anybody. So we're doing it right now. Actually, that's what this is. And as far as the scientists accepting, there are some scientists that believe there's a soul. We have our scientists within our society that are promoting the understanding of the soul. And I'll tell you an interesting thing that happened with Srila Prabhupada. Back in the 1970s, there was one doctor in Canada who had seen so many people die while they were in front of his face. Imagine that. So many people dying right there in front of it. And he would look in their eyes. And at one point, a luster would leave. And just from seeing that so many times, he understood it was the soul leaving the body. And there was some connection. Prabhupada wrote him, and they had some exchange. And he was very appreciative of Srila Prabhupada's teachings. So he was a scientist that understood. But most materialistic scientists, which is 90% of scientists now, materialistic scientists, they don't accept the existence of the soul. But there's some rare scientists that do, smart guys.
Can we attribute a soul to something like an artificially intelligent machine, robot, and is that kind of wrong to do, or is I don't know.
Yes, it's, these artificial intelligence is becoming a big thing now. Are robots alive? Well, they're programmed, right? Just like our computers. They do amazing things, right? But they're programmed. So you've probably all seen these movies where the robots come alive and they take over. It's not going to happen. It's a dream, because they're programmed by conscious beings. They're not conscious beings. The computers aren't conscious beings. The robots aren't conscious beings. They're programmed by conscious beings. So don't worry, that's not going to happen. Yes.
Thank you for opening up the dialogue to a good conversation. I really appreciate that. My name is Rahim, and I really do know or sense that we are experiencing a cosmic simulation, and this is a dream of life that we're co-creating through our individual aspects of consciousness. And I just felt like responding to what the brother said and sharing some insights that I made today and I made note of today. So with that being said, I think like it's important to acknowledge that we are the artists, we are the way showers, we are the leaders of our time, and it's important that we do speak our truth and we share these insights and co-create a new world. And it's the artists and influencers that have the responsibility to curate the collective mindset of the masses through conscious lyricism. So redefining hip-hop, which is sharing the knowledge of the dance, and also acknowledging the fact that like we redefine culture through our lifestyle choices, and cultures are always subject to change, so it's important that we are adaptable as we evolve as a species, and consciousness, also acknowledging that we're individual focal points of self-awareness, innovating on the cultures that consumed us as children of the wild.
Thank you very much. That was nice. He can be one of our speakers in the future. You wanted to say something?
Individuality is great, but shouldn't we all work together as one collective consciousness? Because I met a follower of Kushner at this meetup I went to last Sunday, and he says that when we fully reach a higher level of consciousness, our body, our aura, and some people that are able to see souls and energies will have a gold ring around it, which is like Christ-like consciousness. And piggybacking off what this meeting is about, we're all in a dream. We're literally all the same, just different aspects and reflections of each other. Like, I'm a female version of her in a past life, and you, him, sir, everyone else. But we just need to all come together as one, and then it will just snap.
Acknowledging that, and like I'd like to respond with this, with saying like, oh, it's about balance. Because if we're able to have that perspective of like, okay, I am gifted with this dream of life, experiencing it from the focal perspective of being a human, then we can still embody and like honor our individuality and see the unification and the possibility of like diversity, because we all have some type of unique value to contribute. So we're still working together as one, and we're doing that, like we're coming together in this space cohesively, but it's about realizing that the individual can embody the energy of that oneness, but share it in a unique way, and that's, I think, the gift of being human and expressing ourselves authentically.
So one thing is that we're all individuals, and we're all one in one sense. This is called the Chincha Beta. We're one, but we're different. And to get everyone to work in a way that everyone can grow spiritually, that's very difficult. Because as I mentioned earlier, people are extremely materialistic now. You know, money, rock and roll, sex. You know, this is the mantra for this age. I think this is a rare group of people that are searching. They want to learn about the soul, the higher consciousness. So it's Kali Yuga. So it's difficult to find people that are interested in such subject matters. So now it's time for the next part of the program. So thank you very much.